So 4 words that I never imagined I would be using in the same sentence together to describe a knife. What are those words? Hard, use, slip joint. Hey, I'm Jay, and if you're looking to buy a knife and you need to see what it's like first before you drop your hard-earned money on it, here's what you got to do. Click on subscribe so I can help you, and remember to click that bell notification so you don't miss a thing. You should in fact be looking at the specs right about now. We will, of course, go over what I like about this, and then we'll check and see if there are any potential deal breakers. Before we do that, let's go ahead and take care of them size comparisons really quick, and we'll start out with the Kaiser Vanguard Mini Sheepdog. How about the Lion Steel SR2, and gotta put the bug out in there, don't we? One more should probably take care of it. Of course, the Spyderco Native 5. So now, if you could not already tell from looking at the name, this is in fact a Jesper Voxnaes design, and he happens to be one of my favorite makers at the moment. He is responsible for the Viper Vox Fortis, another favorite knife of mine. Check out these handle scales. I don't know why, but I am just a sucker for bolsters. And these are done very, very well. So it is here, the black part's going to be G10, and then the rest is, in fact, titanium. The blade is 2.5-inch clip point that is flat ground with a really nice satin finish. 3.7 millimeter thick. Yep, 3.7. And that's going to be VG10 blade steel, which I really, really do like. The sharpening choil here on the BB seems to be fairly well executed, so nice work there. The blade is centered, and it kind of has to be. Let me show you why. Because it just barely fits into that handle. It's not rubbing, the blade's not rubbing on the titanium scales. I made sure and double check that. But look at that, there is just absolutely not much wiggle room in there. So it pretty much has to be centered. Always nice to see a slip joint with an adjustable pivot, and this does just that with a T6. So guys, I just want to go ahead and apologize in advance, because when I'm opening and closing this knife, I might be doing some of it kind of out of the frame, not in front of the camera, because, well, I just don't want to be fumbling around with it and have my ugly hands right up close to the camera. So the Boker BB does have a half stop, which is always really nice to see on a slip joint. It's just like an added kind of safety feature, so this thing doesn't like chop off your fingers. And that's good, because the spring here is very, very strong. Now, for the most part, guys, the handle is pretty comfortable. And you can see now kind of when I choke up, I can fit all 4 of my fingers here on the handle. I wear a medium-sized glove. But now, in order to utilize this, the choil here on the handle, you kind of have to choke back a little bit, which then only allows for about a 3-finger grip. Now, those of you with larger hands, this knife may not work out too well for you. Now, this does feature a pocket clip, which, again, you do not see that very often on slip joints, so I like to see it here. And it is, in fact, going to be just tip down for, let's see, yeah, tip down only. Is there anything on the other side? No. So, yeah, just for righties. Sorry, lefties. Now, you could actually, now that I look at this, you could potentially just go ahead and remove that pocket clip and then even add like a lanyard. And you could totally just like kind of drop it in your pocket and carry it that way. Now, before this goes up on the scale, I just want to check something really quick because I don't remember if there was any like skeletonization going on, and no, there is not. So let's see how that affects the weight. 3.7 ounces. That is going to be roughly the equivalent of 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4 AA batteries, or same as the Lion Steel SR2. And I believe it's also the same as the Native 5, and it is in fact. Now, unfortunately, we do have to talk about some of the potential deal breakers because there actually are a few, but before we do that, I would just like to quickly remind you to go ahead and click on that subscribe button if you're looking for knife reviews that get right to the point. Deal breaker number 1 is going to be just regarding, well, the break-in period. Now, because when I first received this, it was ridiculously gritty. I mean, it took a couple days to finally get rid of it, but I am happy to report it is completely gone. I did some oiling to the pivot, you know, cleaned it out, but man, it was like it was dropped in sand or something, because it was probably the grittiest knife I have ever taken out of a box. Number 2, because the spring tension is so darn strong, I want to show you this. The nail nick, if they moved it down just, I mean, we're just talking just a little bit, it would help to give you that leverage to be able to pull this, you know, to open it. But where it's as it is right now, it is kind of difficult. So yeah, I would really like to see that nail nick maybe just move down just a little bit closer to the tip. Now, regarding the handles, the inside edges of these scales are a little on the sharp side, especially right here at the corner of this bolster. And no, it's not going to cut you, but some of you may just find it a tad sharp. Next is going to be regarding the closure of this knife. Now, those of you that do own slip joints, many of us like to kind of, you know, initiate the closing while still holding the handle. And you just use your thumb, especially ones with like a half stop like this for that extra safety. And now if I'm holding the knife just like this and I continue to push this down, it'll lock in at that half position, but it also has cut my finger a few times. And that just has to do with, well, how this choil is positioned. And I really would have liked to seen maybe just like this part of it unsharpened maybe, just for safety. I might even dull it actually myself, but so I really do not recommend closing it, at least initiating the closure this way, because I have cut my finger. I really wish that this blade, this is a minor gripe, but I just want to mention it. I really wish this was stone washed. Just because of the, you know, the type of knife that this is, you know, and my fingers are like all over the blade, and just, you know, opening and closing it just a couple times, it looks like my kids were handling the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like with sticky fingers and stuff. Yeah, so smudges show up really easily on here. I know. Minor, but still, I just want to mention it. And the last potential deal breaker is going to be the price. $100 for VG10 2.5 inch bladed slip joint with G10 and titanium scales. I don't know about you, but that is a little on the high side. So where does that leave us with the Boker Plus Vox BB slip joint? First, a question. What I would like to know from you guys is, now, if you could choose any knife in the whole wide world that you would actually like to see converted or turned into a slip joint, what knife would that be? Let me know down in the comments section below. So I have to say, even though, I mean, I feel that this is overpriced, I really like that Boker and Vox, they just tried to do something different. I mean, this is a true hard use slip joint. You do not see many of these. I mean, slip joints, they're typically, at least, okay, let's say for me anyway, they're typically like a backup option. And to be quite honest, I think that this could serve as a primary carry for some of you. I mean, and I just absolutely love Vox designs, but for me, this is just a little too overbuilt, you know, to be in that backup role.